Hey, what's up, Frontline fans? What is happening, webheads, guys? You're here for another episode of Comic Book Weekly, and today, guys, for the most part, it looks like that we're going to be only the two of us, which is me, Mike Spider Slayer, and we have Cat Comic Uno.
Hey, guys.
Unfortunately, the rest of the cast can't be here. There's a lot of issues going on right now, just personal life and stuff like that with the cast. But regardless, whether there's one of us, two of us, five of us, we're going to try to bring you a show each and every week. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the show. Obviously, you've got to see the topic here that's on the thumbnail. We will definitely be discussing that, but there's a lot of different topics to talk about as well. So I'm going to get Kat started into all this. And guys, welcome to the show, and hopefully you'll enjoy it.
Yes. So let's get into the news this week. We had some media news. So we're going to start out with that first. Big news from this week was that The Walking Dead is ending in 2022. So it's a bit time from now. And then we got Carol and Daryl. Carol and Daryl. Wow, they actually have very similar names. I never notice when you say it next to each other how similar the ending of their names are. I'm like, did I say that wrong? I'm like, no, that's just their names. And maybe that's why people ship them together. But yeah, they have a spin-offs in the works. Doesn't mean it'll be picked up, but that's what's in the works. Which I feel like is one of the main reasons people watch that show still is probably for them. So like, why not? Uh, yeah, I mean, I haven't. I think all of us here we haven't really watched a show in a while, so I feel like it's about time. I'm surprised they're even trying to make spin-offs at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked that they're doing a spin-off off of that too. I just feel like it's so run its course on the TV end of things that why do we need another spin-off? Like it's overdue that this series is ending. You know what I'm saying? And as a huge fan of The Walking Dead as I am, when I got to that Whisperers season, I'm just like, I'm done. And once Rick was obviously he's not dead in the show, but when he thought he was dead and he was taken away from the main cast, it took everything out of the show, and it just wasn't the same since for me. And I think honestly, the show should have probably ended when Negan was on the show and that whole storyline ended. I think that should have been over at that point. So, but my opinion of it, I don't think it's necessary to have a Daryl and Carol show.
No, I agree. I think Negan would have been a good spot. I feel like that's where most people were dropping off, anyways, especially with everything. I mean, the reason I stopped watching was because of the way they treated Glenn. First he's alive, then he's not alive, and it was like, oh, he's actually dead, and I'm like, oh, you're just tricking the fans at this point. And I feel like they didn't care as much about the story as they did those trick shots. But
I didn't have a problem with that because they're trying to make it a little bit unpredictable as where the comic, like for a lot of people that read the comic, they were expecting Glenn to die. And so I understand why they changed that. I thought that was okay. But every show reaches a peak, and that was the pinnacle because people wanted to see that scene. They wanted to see how that was going to be portrayed on TV. And then once that ended, and then they dragged out the whole Negan storyline, that's when it started to dip down a little bit in there. So but again, that show ruled the airwaves for quite a long time. So I give it props, but it's just long overdue to end.
for sure. Well, we're going to go into our last media news topic for this week, which is, will Kang be in Ant-Man 3? So it seems like some sources are saying, and I think one was like Variety, says that the person from Lovecraft Country is a new show on HBO, is playing a big villain in Ant-Man 3. And a lot of people are predicting it's going to be Kang. And then a lot of people are predicting that means the next movie is going to be Young Avengers related because of the son of Kang. Or was it his future version? I don't remember. Well, whoever was Iron Lad.
Yeah, I think it was his future version of himself or whatnot. Yeah.
So I'm like, if it was Young Avengers, I'd be stoked. And it makes sense because that's where they've been kind of working to go with Cassie. So I'd be stoked if that's what's going on.
I mean, Kane's a pretty cool character. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously then we're messing with time travel, which we already messed with in Avengers Endgame, how they went back in time and did all that crazy stuff. So I don't know. We'll see. It's hard to get excited for movies these days right now when we keep getting movies pushed back, right? I mean, we had Wonder Woman that got pushed back now to Christmas,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate. And it's just like, I'm almost at the point right now where it's like, yeah, we keep delaying these movies and delaying them, and it's just like, why not just release them at this point, on some kind of streaming service because they're getting delayed so much.
I think, Milan, sadly, I don't think did as well as they wanted to on the Disney Plus streaming service, or at least it didn't do as well in China as they wanted to. So, yeah, I think that actually deters them to put this on the streaming service. I agree. I want to get over with like New Mutants. Why the hell do they have to release that in theaters?
Yeah,
That's
I don't
out.
even know how it even did. Like, how did it do?
I think it did pretty shitty. I know the reviews were so bad for that movie,
Yeah,
and
I heard
I don't
about
know
that, but
box office.
I never heard about sales. I mean, when movie theaters are not at full capacity anyway, it's going to cripple the movie to begin with. But it's just like people are probably laughing and going, "Hey, that's not worth getting coronavirus over going to see that movie." That
Yeah,
movie,
oh for
that
sure.
movie's actually like a red box, like type of deal. It's like, oh man, I don't even want to pay like the $6 a month on Disney Plus to watch that when it comes out. I want to pay the $250 on Redbox and
I want
see it
someone to
that
pay
way.
me to watch it. Like I don't know if I want to watch it. I think I might watch it for shits and giggles just because I've seen all the X-Men movies. Other than that, I don't know. This is
You
gonna
saw
be.
that Dark Phoenix movie?
Yeah, because I had AMC stubs, so me and my friends would go every week to go see a movie, and Phoenix was out, so we're just like, all right, let's go watch Dark Phoenix because it's on for
Oh
free.
man,
So
I
we
never saw
utilized the
that.
AMC. Oh,
Never
not
seen it.
worth it.
That's funny. Nick's on the show says New Mutants is at 29 million at the box office. Not great at all. With all the time and effort that they spent on that movie, like 29 million, like god dang man, that's horrible.
Yeah, that sucks. We actually do have we have a couple of comments saying the stream is choppy. On my side, it's not. Let us know if it is on your side. Let me see the voice. No, it's okay on my side. So let us know about the choppiness. The other question was about Mandalorian season 2. So Mike, did you watch the trailer? I know you left a comment in our chat about it. So
Yeah, absolutely. I did. I watched the Mandalorian trailer, and I thought it was good. I mean, it's playing off of right after season one. Him traveling with Baby Yoda or the child. That's really what he's called. And it looks like we got the same cast, and he's going. There's a couple of scenes in there where the ship was flying upside down in space, and you're kind of wondering what's going on with that. But it looks really exciting. We got I think we had X-Wings in there as well. There was just a lot of great Star Wars looking scenes in there. And it looks like that obviously they've been given a higher budget for this particular season. That's what I noticed in there as well. I think it's going to be an awesome season. I'm really looking forward to that. And it looks like it has that humor in there that, every once in a while that made that show a little bit unique too. So yeah, great stuff. I'm really looking forward to it.
yeah, I still haven't watched Mandalorian, so I don't have many thoughts on it. Maybe one of these days I'll watch it, but I've heard obviously great stuff about it.
Yeah.
So that is the no, yeah, we talked about the Ant-Man. Yeah, that's the media news. So we're gonna get into two topics me and Brant were gonna discuss. I'll do it quickly. New Mutants gets a new writer, and this is Vita. I forget their last name. Sorry, I believe they're non-binary. Vita Ayala, who is now the new writer of New Mutants. So yeah, I'm excited to get a new writer on this book. I might try it out. I feel like Jonathan Hickman was kind of spreading himself too thin, and it's also great to just get new voices on books like this. So I'm excited.
It is I mean, I think New Mutants was kind of a hot and cold, you know, feel out there when it comes to that book. I mean, I felt like people did like it, and then it fell off. And then, you know, and I agree with you. I think Hickman's got too much going on. And I think he needs some help. And um, I think it makes sense to get a new creative team on there, like after this whole X of Swords event. So I'll be curious to see where it goes from there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, you know, Vita has done Ironheart. I liked her on like their run on Ironheart. So that I'm excited to see what they're gonna do with it. Let's go into the other thing, which is Ginny Hex gets her own one shot. So at least we're getting to see some, I guess, B-list, C-list characters still getting series. I just don't think they're giving the ongoings out as easily. So this is a one shot, right? Maybe in another realm it would have been a mini series.
And
I
when
want
is
to
this?
learn more about Ginny. I think
And when is
December.
this coming out? In December?
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. That's the thing with DC. Like December is a complete stall for them. So they have like Endless Winter coming out that's taking place throughout their books. And then, you know, to release certain things, they're like, okay, well, we're going to do this one shot and we're going to do, then they have like a Batman Black and White book as well
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We
it's
could talk
like,
about that too.
yeah. So it's like they're kind of just like, there's nothing really coming out. I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that she's got her own book, but at the same time, it's just like, but what's the point of having a one shot, especially when the series is ending? You know, so what's the purpose of it? What's the goal? Just to learn about Jenny Hex for one issue, and then when is she going to come back?
Yeah, like why didn't we get a series like this or a one shot like this before Young Justice? I mean, I liked her okay enough in Young Justice. I don't think we saw a lot of her, which is like why I would
Right.
want to see a one shot. But I agree, like, okay, if I love this one shot, it's just like kind of salt in the wounds. Oh, I won't get any more Ginny right when she's
Right.
getting good. You
And this is
know?
where and this is where Bendis should have shined more when it came to that character. Like, it, give her give her an arc or give her some depth, you know. And that's where I always compared like Young Justice to Teen Titans. Like Teen Titans, we had a bunch of new characters, but they were so explored. They really gave character growth. You got to learn their emotions, their characteristics, you know, where they came from, what their story was, and they made you really care for them, you know. Where it was just like Young Avengers, Young Justice wound up becoming this book where it was just, hey, how many people can we fit in this one book? And so when they're all in this book, they don't have the time to grow, you know, and
I
that makes
agree.
it
Yeah.
frustrating.
Yeah, and again, total potential being a cool book. And I agree. There's first of all, when they started, it was way too many, and then they added even more, and they were just so unfocused. The book. I mean, when it was good, it was good. But we'll see how it ends up. And I think Mike Manhattan said maybe if Jenny Hex one shot as well, she'll get a series. Yeah, I think that's why they're doing the one shots. You know, they're testing the waters, see what should get a book and what's going to sell. I don't know if it's going to sell well, but you really never know. You never know with these one shots. All right, let's get into Wolverine gets a renumbering. So this is going to be going to issue 350 in December. It's up to issue 8. Already renumbering for Wolverine.
I find it funny because it's like we had legacy numbering a little while ago, and then we wind up getting relaunched with new number ones, and now we're going back to legacy numbering on a lot of books once again. Like, my issue is just make up your mind. What do you want to do? Do you want to do legacy numbering? Then do it. Just stick with it. When you do it this way, it makes people very confused, especially new readers. So, like, if you're on issue 4 or whatever we were on, and then you jump to issue 350, right? It's kind of just like, you know, you new reader looking for the last issues. You're like, wait a second, why are we on issue 350? So it's just like, just make up your mind. Like, I don't have a problem with either at this point. Like, I've learned to accept that in today's comics, we constantly start over so we can give new readers a chance to jump on. Plus, it's good for trade reading, right? So you come up with a story, it's going to be 6 issues, and then we're going to get another volume. So we release it in trade. So some people rather read it in trade. That's fine. I get why they do it. But when you change the numbering and the legacy numbering and all that, that's what makes it very frustrating, you know. But obviously they're doing it for a milestone issue, get money, whatever the case may be. But it's a little bit aggravating at this point with that.
Yeah, and you know, definitely it is for sales in regard even past the trades. Just like, all right, after issue 1 did well enough for them, because like issue 1s always do well. They're like, how do we make this comic hot again? How do we like get people to pick this up that otherwise wouldn't? And that's what they end up doing. And they did the issue 350. We are not going to be talking about Chris Evans' picture, guys. You keep talking about it in the comments, but we're not talking about it. All right, let's go into let's talk about some good news. Marvel relaunches Black Cat. I know you're excited, Mike, but it goes back into why did this book need to be relaunched?
Well, so when Black Cat ended, it ended its story arc and it said to be back in King in Black, right? So we thought that maybe Black Cat would just be back in King in Black, and that might be it. But it literally is a relaunch of her series. And my theory of it, and I'm a huge fan of her, and I'm fine with the book coming back. But my theory is there wasn't a lot of people reading it. So to get people on board reading it, we're going to put her in King in Black, make it a tie-in book, make people buy it if they want to invest in the whole series, and maybe her series will pick back up again. I think it's just a second attempt to try to sell this book. And then if this book does not sell, that's when they're going to give it the axe. Now, supposedly she's also going to get a new costume change also. And then they're going to explore more of the Thieves Guild situation as well after King in Black is over with. So that's their plans. And it's the same writer also that was writing it before. So technically, I mean, yeah, it's starting over with a new number 1, but it is the same. It's pretty much the same creative team. So I don't know. I don't know why you just couldn't continue it, but hey, it is what it is, right?
I agree. Again, money is definitely always the answer in that regard. Hopefully it gets more people to read Black Cat in the end. All right, let's get into I guess we could go back to Batman Black and White just for a second, just to talk about it being in prestige format. Because that, honestly, like I might have gotten that book if it wasn't that stupid magazine format.
But do you know if it is a magazine or is it just like Three Jokers?
That's a good question. I don't remember how they worded Three Jokers when that came out. When I think prestige, though, I think magazine format.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's just like it's still the same quality. It's just the only difference is the oversized. If it's not oversized, then maybe I don't know. I could be wrong. But people in the comments, if you want to go ahead and you know, put that in there, what you think that it might be, just go ahead. But you know, I don't know. We'll see. Right?
Yeah.
I never read the first Black and White, so I don't
think I have either.
I don't know if people might be like, Mike, what's wrong with you? But I never did. I never read that one.
It's from a while. I might have read it like through, like sometimes you get free digital comics. I think I might have read it through that, but honestly kind of forgettable. At the time it wasn't, because you're like, oh man, you got a Black and White comic. It's Batman. This is crazy. But now you have a Harley Quinn version of it, and you have all these, you know, we've seen it before. We got to see Spider-Man Blue.
Is it just a black and white story of Batman? Is that really what it is?
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's big, and that's what this is going to be. It's just different creators telling black and white stories of Batman.
Right. Yeah, so I don't know. It might be cool.
Yeah, so we'll see what the week looks like if I'm going to pick that one up. All right, let's go into more dark multiverse stories for December. So we got, let's see, we got from Vita Ayala, who's going to be doing New Mutants, War of the Gods, Tales from the Dark Multiverse. I was going to say drawn by David Marquez, but he's just doing the cover. We have Steve Orlando doing Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then a lot of writers on Dark Knight's Metal. That's what I kind of want to discuss, is that Tales from the Multiverse, it's about stories that we haven't seen in a while. And then you get Metal, which has been taking over DC's lineup for like almost every book on stands is a Metal book. And then you get another Metal book with these Tales of the Dark Multiverse. I personally didn't like any of the ones that were from that original run, but I guess it did well enough that they're making another one. But yeah, I'm not picking them up.
One that I liked. I think it was a Superman one. I think that was
You
good.
did. You
yeah.
the Death of Superman.
And I thought that was okay. Besides that, all the other ones weren't that great. I was really disappointed with Blackest Night, unfortunately. And again, these books are coming out in December as well. So this is just filling the gap for people to try to buy something since there's not that much coming out. And I'm sad to say that I think these books are probably going to be like $6. And I don't think I have any interest in buying any of these based off of the track record of these. Just curious to see if the viewers were into these Dark Multiverse books at all, and which ones did you like? That's what I really want to know, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, if you guys liked any of them, let us know. All right, let's get into second to last news piece here, which is Batman Beyond gets canceled. So, I mean, I'm surprised it wasn't canceled in that first run of books.
I'm surprised this is getting canceled. This is funny, Kat, because in my top 10 most anticipated video that I put out today, I was like, you know what? I should be reading Batman Beyond. And I was like, plus there's all these other DC books that are getting canceled. Now, when I prep this video, I do it like over the weekend, right? So I look ahead and everything. And I kid you not, the next day, when I'm just searching around for news and stuff like that, I see Batman Beyond getting canceled.
Oh, God.
And I'm like, you got to be kidding me, because it's ending a story arc of this coming issue, and then it starts a new story arc. And I think it's ending at 50, I think.
I believe so.
And so I'm like, this is so dumb. Like, I get canceling some books, right? But when you cancel books like Batgirl, right, and you cancel a book like Batman Beyond, I'm like, those books, they have a pretty good following. And so
especially after that Batwoman reveal, I felt like a lot of people were buying Batman Beyond at that point.
A lot of people were buying Batman Beyond because of obviously the spec situations and just people I think really enjoy the story. They like Terry McGinnis, and I don't know, man. It's kind of like an ultimate Spider-Man, right? That's the way I look at Batman Beyond, and just for it to be ending, I'm just like, that's frustrating. And then, are they going to release a new one, or when are they going to release, it again? I guess that's the question, and Jim Lee said that they're going to be canceling, again, 20 to 25% of their line and focus on building the characters that they have. So from his mouth, there's not going to be a reboot this coming year.
No.
That's a guarantee. No reboot. So whatever books you have on the racks, that's the ones that you're going to get. And don't be afraid if we see more cuts going into the future here.
I don't even know what they can even cut at this point. Like, what books you got left? I think the only thing I'm picking up from them at this point would be Wonder Woman and Batman. So everything else, I believe, I'm going to look at my list, but I think everything else has gotten canceled.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at it myself. Like
3 Jokers, but that doesn't count.
Right. Suicide Squad's ending. So yeah,
Adventures
Wonder Woman,
continue.
Batman. Right now I'm reading Detective because of Joker War. Right.
I'm going to get Rorschach issue 1, but who knows if that's going to last on my pull list or not.
I'm going to try Red Hood because that's getting a new creative team. So I'm going to try that. Dude, I don't know. I don't know what's left.
I'm telling you, 2 books. That's crazy. And then we could get into the big topic, which is Brian Michael Bendis is leaving Superman. Oh, are you reading The Flash?
No, but we're getting a new team on that too, remember?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to want to pick it up, though, even just because there's a new team. I don't know. It depends on what the story's about.
The storyline is ending right now. It's getting ready to go on that last issue of that whole run that they did with what's his name? That
Joshua Williamson.
Yeah, and with the villain, what's his name? I told
Reverse Flash?
Not Reverse Flash, the other guy. He's like Reverse Flash, but I totally forgot what
he's Godspeed?
Yeah, Godspeed. Yeah, that's all coming to a close. So I guess we'll get a new story at this point. So and Raphael says Batman's been great. And I agree, Raphael. I mean, like, Batman is like on top of my list every single time it comes out. And it's good to see the Bat books that we do have, but it's getting more and more to the point where it looks like DC's just relying on Batman to drive its sales. And you know, I think all of us here do like the character, but we love the expansive universe of DC, and we're getting
learning more about different characters too, like learning about characters maybe we didn't know, and like see how cool they are.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I liked about the New 52, because for a lot of you guys that haven't been watching me as long, like, I didn't start reading DC comics until the New 52 came out, and my knowledge of DC was very minimal, you know, and so that gave me a huge knowledge of all these different characters, you know. And people were probably like, well, I'm sorry, Mike, that you had to read that New 52 stuff, but that is true. That's how I was able to jump on DC, and now everything that I read is just gone now.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. And I think there are some good gems in New 52, and I think there's gems in DC Rebirth. And you know, you're not going to get gems if there's no books out. You know, it's hard to, like, okay, I don't like Superman right now, I'll go pick up another book. And well, if there's not another book to pick up, well, you know, what is there to do? And then you have the digital books, I guess. But yeah, I hope this is just a temporary thing as things are being figured out with COVID. I hope this is not the future of DC Comics, where we're just getting no books. I don't think anyone's happy to see that. And yeah, we're seeing a lot of the bigger names leave now. So what's driving DC at this point besides Batman? Mm-hmm. Maybe when they get the new creator again, we're kind of going into Bendis is leaving, Superman, which we knew, but now we know it's going to be December. So the new year's coming. Who will the new writer be? That's a question. And will that bring sales to Superman? But then I don't think that fixes the overall problem, right? Like, just because Superman might be good, I want to read Superboy. I want to read Supergirl. I don't want to just read Superman.
And who's going to be on Superman? We don't know that yet, you know?
Yeah, we still don't know. Probably next week we'll find out.
Yeah, so I don't know. We'll find out.
So those are all the news pieces we had this week, guys. So I don't know if we want to talk about our topic first, or do we want to get into under the radar? What would you rather do, Mike?
Well, we can talk about the topic. That's fine.
All right, so we're going to talk about the topic of the show. Please refrain from any negative language in the comments, guys. If you disagree with the direction of the story, fine, but please do not be rude to people. So in the last issue of Marauders, I guess to describe what's going on in Marauders, Kitty Pryde comes back to life, and now she's on a vendetta against Shaw. And everyone's celebrating her coming back, and we really get to see the people who have been important in her life. We get Ileana, we get Rachel, Nightcrawler, her riding horses with Emma Frost. And then in the end, we get to see her get a tattoo of Kill Shaw. But in the mix of all that, she also kisses a girl. So I've been very vocal about my love for Kitty Pryde's bisexuality and how it does exist and blah, blah, blah. That's always been there. So it's kind of nice that we get a confirmation kind of in this issue. But playing on the flip side, I hope they don't, I guess, not talk about it. I hope this is not just their confirmation, because I think there's not enough bisexual characters in comics. There's not enough bisexual characters in media in general. And there's a big part of something called bi erasure, where, you know, bisexual people are not seen as much just because they're, you know, you're not straight, you're not gay. So I hope that we get a good story, a good coming out story with Kitty, because I think a lot of comments would be like, who cares? Let's just move on. But I think, you know, it is important. And I hope we get that representation. We kind of got it with Julie Power, but even her coming out story was with someone who was gay. So it wasn't even just her own coming out story. So I don't feel like we have enough bisexual characters. I would hope that this is a character we can see her full journey to kind of figure out this part of her, because obviously it's something we haven't seen, and I want to know why we haven't seen it. And I hope it's not just a random kiss and that's it. But what are your thoughts, Mike? Do you believe this was a confirmation of her bisexuality, or was it just something to make fans happy?
I think this was something that, I mean, we've seen hints of this in the past. I think a long time ago, we actually talked about this too, where we saw a similar scene. It was in a book that Kitty Pryde was in as well. But again, I think Marauders is a book that is focused around Kitty, and it's exploring Kitty more, or Kate, if that's what you want to call her. And I think what this is this book is describing who Kate Pryde actually is. And this is for people that may not know her from the past as much, just, you know, people just jumping on board with this. And again, it's exploring all avenues of this character. And I think I'm totally fine with that. I have no issue with her being bisexual in the comic and Marvel exploring this. We just live in this day and age where I think these things need to be expressed. I know people sit there and they, you know, they harp on this and they're just saying, you know, social justice and all this other stuff, but this is the society that we live in today, and it's having all different types of characters and diverse characters and their beliefs. I think that's what adds to the comic. It gives a character depth, right? We're not going to forget, you know, about these things. I mean, we take these comics so seriously, so why not, you know, give them real life situations at times, right? I mean, I don't have a problem with it, and hopefully they do explore it a little bit more, you know, because it did probably maybe surprised a lot of people. So again, I don't have a problem with it. I think Kitty Pryde is a great character, and you know, whether she is with a man or whether she's with a woman or whether she's with both, then hey, it is what it is. You know, we've seen some other things happen in this Dawn of X age where we've had Jean and Wolverine, you know, and Cyclops. You know, you're looking at them as they're a possible trio. You know, so again, we're always exploring different things when it comes to comic books these days, and my eyes are always open to it. I'm optimistic, and I'm not going to get to the point where I'm worked up to be like, oh, they shouldn't shove this in your face or shouldn't. I think it's fine because, again, you're adding depth to characters in the book. It gives them more than just they're just a cartoon character or whatever in a comic book that fights bad guys.
Yeah, and I never understand the comments when people do say, because I mean, Tevye just said in the comments, which again, not to call you out, Tevye, but just to bring light to whatever. A lot of people, when Iceman became gay, a lot of people said they turned him gay. And it's like, that's just like such a hard, first of all, it's a bad connotation to LGBT people, because it's just like, you can't turn gay. You could, it's who you are, and you can't turn bisexual. You can't turn these things, just what you are. So, and then, yeah, going back to what you were just saying, Mike, like when people say, oh, why are you putting this in my face? What's going on? I don't understand the concept of like, what do you want to see then? First of all, with Kitty Pryde's character, this has been present forever. And also the creator of her character, this was the intent for the character the whole entire time. The whole time. This has always been the intent for Kitty Pryde. So it's not something that has come out of the blue or whatever. So I think that's interesting too, is like a lot of people don't see that side. And again, Chris Claremont has said this for decades, but maybe at that time, maybe why we're seeing more characters come out is because Marvel wasn't ready to see those characters come out, because, you know, it was a different generation. Now we're, you know, hopefully having more spotlight on these characters. And another comment I kind of want to say, because I see a lot of people say, oh, a kiss is a kiss. Why does it matter? I think representation in general matters. You know, you want to see yourself in comics, and then also you know, that's what storytelling is all about. So yeah, it matters. Again, kind of what I was talking about before, is because I don't think there's a lot of bisexual characters at all. There's not a lot of queer characters in general in comics. I think especially, the only bisexual characters I know, and I said this before, Julie Power and John Constantine. Those are two bisexual characters, and that's it. So I do think that representation is important. So it's like, oh, why are we talking about this? That's why it's important. You know, it is a conversation, and it should be told. So yeah, but hopefully we get to see more of that with the future Marauders. We will see. It's also going into X of Swords. I found that kind of not strange, but it's interesting that they're going into a big event and just like kind of drop this bomb. Like, oh man, is this ever going to be explored? But I think that's
I think it's just something like it happened, and I think like you might see more of it, and it might be just sprinkled in there here and there. But it gets people, I guess, aware of, you know, what's going on with her, you know? So, I mean, I feel like in this book, you can obviously feel that strong chemistry between Emma and Kitty. I think that's always been kind of the thing going there. You can see that obviously everybody in the X-Men crew has had, you know, strong feelings for Kitty, but Emma was pretty much beside herself when she passed away, and she would not stop in trying to get her back to life. Like, she would not give up, you know? So I think there's definitely some strong feelings there for her. We also always said that, you know, I think we said in the past, I think it was, did Ileana have feelings for Kitty Pryde?
for sure.
I think
when that wedding happened, we talked about that a lot.
Yeah, that was the thing that I was talking about. You got to see some feelings there, I think, between the two of them too. And you know, there was a comment in here, is just like, sometimes you know, a kiss is just a kiss. That's true too. You know, that is true. Yeah, absolutely. It could have been just a kiss for what all we know. But I don't know. Time will tell. But I think, you know, you're right on what's going on there. I mean, we've been seeing it for quite a while now.
Yeah, and what's interesting about the way this, and I guess going into like why I like this issue so much, I like the way how this issue is structured. It's very much about her identity. I know Mike picked one of his favorite panels was about her religion. It was the Star of David we got to see. We also even got to see like her old looks. So her curly hair is back. So kind of what she used to look like in the 80s. So we're getting like to see the rebirth of Kitty Pryde in a lot of ways. And again, look at the people that show up here. Rachel, where Kitty's got this like longing stare for Rachel. It's like, I kind of have to tell her something, and she goes off. And then Ileana, someone searched the lyrics of that song, and it's pretty much a love song. So you have that, and then you have again Emma Frost and Kitty riding horses together into the sunset. But yeah, no, going back to it, I really liked it because there's so much about her identity, and I guess going into killing Shaw and what that's gonna do to her, right? Like she was this innocent character. Now she's going to kill a guy. And will he actually die? This is a new version of the X-Men for sure. I want to answer this quickly. Tevia, wait, question. What about Kitty and Colossus getting married? Do you mean like bisexual means you like men and women? But you mean
that's not going to happen though. Like she obviously, they had feelings for each other, but what Kitty Pryde was going through shows that she was not ready or she did not want to marry him because of her bisexuality.
Or that she didn't fully accept herself. But also going back to what bisexuality is, bisexuality means you like men and women. So I don't, her liking Ileana, let's say, doesn't take away from all the Peters she liked, because she still likes those Peters. She's still attracted to those Peters, because that's what bisexuality is. You still like men, you still like women, you just like both. So those are still, but going to what Mike just said, the marriage didn't happen maybe because she had that conversation with Ileana and she's like, shit, I'm not really being me. I'm not like being my true self. I think that's more of the story. It's not like, oh, well, I didn't love Peter. Like, she obviously loved Peter. But I think she needed to kind of do her own self-discovery journey. And I think that's what Marauders has 100% been about, is Kitty, her own self-discovery. And she's rebelling in a lot of ways.
It's a character book for her, basically. That's what it is. Couch Grumpy says, which issue is this? I'm so in the dark. So are we talking about Marauders issue?
Probably.
Or are you talking about the when Kitty was getting ready to marry Colossus, because that was in X-Men Gold, right? I think that's when that took place, when they were going to get married. Kat?
Yes, I believe it was X-Men Gold, or it was like a special issue, but I think it was X-Men Gold.
Right. But
Trying to see
the
what
most
comics we
recent
have.
issue of Marauders is what? Issue what? What are we on that?
12.
Yeah, so issue 12. So if you're curious to see what's going on there. Oh no, the recent kiss. Yeah, issue 12.
Oh yeah, issue 12.
Yeah, she goes and she gets that tats on her hands, and then she goes and she plants a big fat kiss on that girl. And I was kind of like, who's that girl? But she was just a tattoo parlor. That's all she was, right? She wasn't anybody in significance.
Yeah, because it could kind of go either way. It was either like, okay, this girl missed her date. Kitty was feeling a little confident. I'm just gonna kiss her and say she had a great night. Or the other way is like, oh, I like girls and I want to kind of prove that I like girls. I'm gonna kiss her. Again, I think future stories will tell. We have a really interesting comment here. Comics fun. If you're doing an LGBTQ character for a reaction, not for character story, that you're doing it wrong. See, and I kind of wanted to bring this up because I see a lot of comments about Iceman. Now, I actually, obviously want LGBTQ representation. It's very important to me. But I don't think Iceman was done right. And again, I don't like the words that people are using, turn gay. It wasn't turn gay. But the reason I don't think they did it right was because I feel that, well, first of all, Gene outed him. I don't think that was right. Gene just went in his mind and said, oh, man, you're gay. You should never do that to someone who's queer. And then, yeah, I do think that was more for a headline. I don't think what they're doing for Kitty, and I think that's why so far it's been good representation. It was for a headline. It was just like, this is where the character has gone. So I think that's where we could kind of see the two differences here.
Right. And I think with Iceman, it was something that just kind of popped up out of the blue. And just the way, like you said, the way it was done, it wasn't done the right way. Where you've been sprinkled hints all along the way. Bobby was you were under this impression with him the whole entire time. It's just like, he's this playboy, hardcore guy. And then all of a sudden, one day, it's just like, they're just like, boom. So to me, that's shoving it in your face to grab that headline. Where again, we've been slowly getting this for a very, very, very long time now. Right? That's why, like, me and Kat have been doing these shows for years, and we've always been getting hints on what's going on with Kitty Pryde. So, and being that, society has changed over the years, and this is, this is all out in the open now. It just
be more open. Yeah. Stories are being in comics in general are able to tell these stories now that maybe they weren't able to. Again, people haven't changed. Just think society's view has changed. Everyone is still as queer as they used to be. It's just that now we're actually able to tell those stories.
We got a comment here where Sky, was it Sticks Boy 73 says, what about the North Star storyline where he gets married? Do you think that was done well? I actually did not read that book.
I haven't either, so I can't tell you. From what it seemed like, sure, it seemed like a good story, but I also didn't read it.
So most recently, then, we get the Hulkling and Wiccan marriage. So how did that turn out?
I thought that was great. I thought the wedding, it was something that has been built up to, and I've always enjoyed Wiccan and Hulking's queer love story. I think they've done a really great job, and Young Avengers was ahead of its time. It was around the time of Runaways, if you think about it. Carolina Dean's the first lesbian of the Marvel Universe. That's freaking nuts. That was in like 2000 something. And that was the first lesbian of the Marvel Universe. Yeah, so it's kind of cool that we've gone so far.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other questions?
No, I guess not.
Okay. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation, that we were on it for a while. I'm sure it'll be a conversation that comes up again, but we all thought it was really important to talk about.
Yeah, we know that this might be some touchy situation for some people, or might, you know, make people uncomfortable or whatnot. But we wanted to touch on this. This is something different, you know. This is how real life situations are in comic books, you know, because nowadays comic books are not made for kids. They are made for adults. So it makes sense that they bring in these situations to the readers.
Yeah, I think I do think we should have even more queer representation in children's media too. But I think that's a whole different topic as well. Cool. So I think we're going to go into under the radar books, and I guess I'll do mine first, which is Join the Future issue 5. Surprisingly, this was the last issue of Join the Future. I did not expect to see that happening, but it was good. It was her kind of going up against the enemies who destroyed her town, and I guess an open-ended story of her going up against more future technology and showing that the old ways are sometimes okay. So I liked it. I thought it was a pretty solid issue.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't read the series, unfortunately, but I'm glad you liked it. My under radar book this week was actually Magnificent Miss Marvel. This was actually and we appreciate that comment. Thank you for you know letting us know that you enjoyed the topic. My top one was Radar was Magnificent Miss Marvel issue 14. This was an Outlaw tie-in. I haven't read Magnificent Miss Marvel in quite a while, but I've been trying to read this Outlaw stuff because I was curious to see
as slowly as it comes out.
Yeah, it's like it's been out since March, right? And right before COVID happened. And so we get the story of Miss Marvel, how she's in this hospital bed and she's basically in a coma. She's in and out of consciousness and she's dealing with, you know, fighting for her life. And you get to see that she's being succumbed by this darkness, that she might not come out of it. So I thought that was a really interesting way at seeing a superhero really fight for their life there. And then we get to see all the other people come in and out of the hospital room being like, oh, you got to be there for us. You know, you got to pull through. And you see Bruno there, which I thought was really cool because, you know, she's his closest friend. And, you know, he's beside himself crying. You wind up seeing Miles Morales there. And I thought it was a really interesting book. And then at the end of the issue, she winds up getting out of her hospital bed. And what does she do? She leaves. And she tells Miles, she's like, you gotta leave. You gotta leave right here. I gotta take this into my own hands. But it was a really kind of a good touch and go emotional book, and it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So you know, this is something that could really go under the people's radar when they sit there and they say, "Oh, it's outlawed." It's that storyline that I have no idea what's about. You know,
yeah,
so
that long-winded story. Yeah, I don't love this writer's take on Miss Marvel as much, just because I think the structure could be a little better. Like it was very prolonged because it's just like, all right, now it's Bruno, now it's Zoe, now it's this, now it's that.
Right.
So I kind of wish it picked up the pace a bit. But yeah, I like where it's going overall with Outlawed and Miss Marvel being in the middle of it all. And hopefully by next year we'll get the ending of Outlawed.
Eventually it will end. Okay, so those are our two under the radar books. Now, just to let you know, Kat, I did not put together, honestly, a true top 5. I read all my books, but I had to read them digitally because I did not get any Independence and I did not get any Marvel books. So I had to go on our thing and I had to go and read them, but I didn't document which ones were in my top. So, you know, I'll talk along with it when you go through your top 5 or whatever the case may be. Okay.
No problem.
So, so big book we had was Empire Aftermath Avengers issue 1. So did you read this one?
I did.
So what did you think about this? Because I know you were the one that reads the Aftermath books and the tie-in books, and so what happened in this book?
I gotta know what's going on without spending too much money. Yeah, this issue is kind of fun. We get to see the wedding a little bit more. Because Fantastic Four, I read them both back to back. I think this one in the end, yeah, they teased that Teddy might go evil again, even though he wasn't truly evil, just because his mom died, and he kind of found out who the person was who did that. And yeah, mostly it's just the wedding and just them celebrating it. And I had fun with that because as a young Avengers fan, I liked it. Yeah. So overall, it was okay. I'm glad I read it, and I enjoyed the process I read this in. Glad I didn't read the main series, and I got the gist of it.
Right. So the next book that you want to discuss is Willow issue 3.
Yeah, not much. If Brant was here, I would have expanded a bit more. Just that once we get to the chopping block, but I'll say it here. I'm going to drop it. I feel like it's a really slow book. Nothing much is happening in it. It's just her hanging out with witches, and yeah, it's just super slow. So I'm going to drop that one.
Nothing spectacular about that, huh?
No, nothing too spectacular. We have a really nice comment from comics. This is why I like this show. I get to hear about books and storylines I don't read, and if it sounds interesting, I'll check it out. Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah, that's our goal. Our goal is, to get you to pick up those books. That's why we have the top 5. That's why we talk about the big books, because there is a lot of books out there that people don't know about or are on the fence or maybe have a very limited budget and they're trying to decide which ones to buy. So that's why we do our show like this. Again, it's always about helping you make decisions on what comics to buy. All right, so next we're going to go into your top 5, or starting off with your number 5, Kat. What was yours?
My number 5 was The Amazing Spider-Man, issue 48 we're up to.
Yes.
This issue I liked, but also was kind of confused by. Like, I get that Spider-Man is trying to protect the Green Goblin, and then everyone's like, he shouldn't do that. Let's try like hurting Peter. I don't know. That I guess they know more information about what's happening with Sin Eater and Green Goblin than we do. But I thought that was such a strange ending, just for the sake of that cliffhanger. And also,
he was so conflicted on what to do, because he's so evil that everyone else is saying, let's Sin Eater take Harry or Norman Osborn's power away from him, so he is a good guy, right? And Peter obviously is like, but that's the wrong thing to do. You're going to basically kill him, because there's something much more than making him into a good guy, right? There's going to be something worse that comes out of all of this. And so he's conflicted on what to do. And I thought that was interesting, but at the same side of things, that it was really drawn out. He spent the entire issue making that decision, right? And then out of the woodwork comes, hey, Miles is here, Gwen is here, and it's just like they're all there. Like, all of a sudden, all of the Spider characters, and they're just like, we got to stop Peter. And it's just like, because they all want Norman Osborn dead. That's basically what it is. But it's
so weird, and add a character for Spider characters to want him dead. I just thought that's strange.
Well, how do you feel about all the Spider characters making their appearance in this book?
It was nice, but also I think the same thing I said about Ms. Marvel. It kind of felt like it was a to-do list. Didn't really feel organic. It's just like, well, Miles needs to show up here. I guess Gwen's gonna show up. They said some interesting stuff. Like, I like their interaction, but yeah, just thought it was kind of unorganic.
Right.
This book is always so explainy. It's always just information we already know. It's just like, here, new reader, do you know who Peter Parker is?
Though. Nick Spencer is like that, and he was the same way in Captain America too. With the Secret Empire and everything like that. And I don't want to say I like this book, but I feel like it can be better. There's just
for sure. It has been better.
Something, yeah, it has been better, but there's just really something missing from it. And I think what's missing from it is what we saw in the beginning of this series, right? And now it's just gone in this, in this very dark place. And, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, but I just feel like there's just a lot of loose ends that's never been cleared up. And we just go from different story to different story to different story. And storylines are just never cleared up, I guess. We got the whole thing with Kingpin, Boomerang. Again, with Kindred, we're still dealing with that. And, You know, Mary Jane with her own book, and she hasn't come back
That got
yet.
canceled.
Like what's going on with that? And so I don't know. We don't have that supporting cast like we did in the beginning of this book, and now you bring in the spider characters, and I'm like, get it? And I get there's a grand scheme of things, but we've been building up to that for so long. So when is it time? When are we going to get that payoff? That's going to be like, yes, all 50 issues of this series or whatever we're on right now is finally going to pay off. And then if it doesn't, you're going to be disappointed, right?
I feel like I'm already disappointed. Yeah, no, I hope that issue, what is it? It's not issue 50. It's actually
It's
issue 49.
49.
Yeah. So it's the next issue, which is so weird. It's just like somehow it made it to issue 49 instead of 50. No, I hope it's great. I mean, the covers look cool. I mean, at least I'll be getting a good cover out of the deal. That's all that really matters.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I am looking forward to this Green Goblin storyline. You know, we did have one recently. Well, I say recently, but it's already been a couple years now with Dan Slott and the whole Red Goblin series when Norman came back then. Then we had the Goblin War previously before that, remember? So there's been a lot. So I don't know. We'll see. Amazing
Yeah.
needs something. It's just been dragging. So yeah, absolutely. I do agree with that. All right, so that was your number 5, right?
Yeah, that was my number 5.
Okay, so we're going to move on to Empire Fallout Fantastic Four issue 1. Now, when I saw the end of this book in the top 5 panels this week, I was like, okay, I got to skim through this book at least. And so we find out that Nick Fury was or became the new Watcher, right? He was called the Unseen. I think that's what he called himself. And at the end of this issue, somehow, some way, the Watcher, what's his name, Yatu, he winds up popping out of the eyeball of Nick Fury, and he's the Watcher once again. How does that happen? Like, I don't get that. Like, how did that happen?
I don't even know. I was kind of confused by the ending. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really read Original Sin. I feel like everything's always attached to Original Sin.
Because it was a damn good series, Kat, and you missed out on it.
I really missed out, but I read the first and last issue of that book, so I did great on it.
So the Watcher. So what happens? Remember, the Watcher wound up getting shot, and he wound up getting killed, and they took his eyeball, right? So somehow he winds up getting resurrected at the end of this issue without that eyeball. But how does he get resurrected? I don't get it. I might be stupid. I don't know what I was missing. But I was very confused. Somehow with the Katatis, magic weapons or whatever it was, it brought it back. It brought him back to life. So I don't know. We'll see. It's comics. It's one of the comics we got, and then there's a representation, and then there's fake representation. So I guess maybe that's going back to comment earlier.
I think some people are talking about Wolverine from what I was. I'm glad that the conversation's still going to comments. Thank you guys. I'm glad that the topic was really great for you guys. People are saying that Wolverine's bisexual. I don't read Wolverine, so I don't have an answer on that. Serenity mentioned that, oh, he's really old, so that's why he's bi and he gets bored. I'm like, no, that takes away from people. That takes away from people who are bisexual. You know, if you're like, bisexuals aren't bored, it's just what you are. So I think you could be bi-curious and be like, all right, let's see what that's about. But I don't think, again, I don't read Wolverine, and maybe he is bisexual, but from what I'm hearing, it doesn't sound like he's bisexual or bi-curious, but he is old. That is definitely what I got from the answer. But yeah, I just don't like that limits, I think, bisexuals. And again, I kind of already went over the whole bi-erasure thing. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with Wolverine though. You are reading Wolverine, Mike. Have you gotten any of that?
Not really, not from these issues at least. I mean, he's dealing with vampires and he's dealing with Omega Red, and so that's all I got from there. And he's I told
Yeah,
you it was
Wolverine is dating Hercules. I have not heard about this. I don't know what book this is in.
Yeah, I don't know either. Maybe I missed something. I don't know, but
Yeah, I mean, if he is, that's cool. And again, I hope it was a well done story. I personally haven't seen Wolverine's bisexuality as much as Kitty, but you do you, Wolverine. Oh, I'm sorry if I misspoke, Serenity. That's not what I said, Kat. I didn't say Wolverine's bored and tired man. I said Wolverine has been around so long and has so many adventures, it makes sense for him to be exploring men. Yeah, again, maybe he's bi-curious for sure.
Absolutely.
All right, yeah, Fantastic Four. That was the big thing in there. Oh, also, I don't know if we talked about this. The Thing and Alicia now have those 2 kids. They're gonna be the parents. So
I saw that too, and I'm like, okay. It didn't really excite me. I'm sorry. It really did not. And I want to thank you so much for that super chat. That's awesome. I'm glad you guys like it. But when I saw that scene, I'm like, okay, I'm happy for them, but now this just makes the Fantastic Four have even more family. And I'm like, are these characters going to be significant going forward? You know, or are they just going to run around? So we'll see what happens.
Especially because you have, I don't know how long ago you dropped Fantastic Four. I think you dropped it before this, but there's a new girl that Johnny's with, and he's like had an arranged marriage with. She's also in the book, so it's starting to get a little crowded. Yeah,
he's married.
Kind of. I don't know
and
if they got
he's
okay
with that. Is he okay with that?
They're exploring it. They're just like, okay, let's just see how this is all about. She went back to Earth with them. She's like from another planet, and now
who arranged the marriage? The alien race?
I think it was the alien race. From what I remember, is like this race of like other people, where they got their powers from, like the planet of where they got their powers from, or the origin connected to that. They're gonna be married. I don't think they actually got married, but in the end, they're like, let's try this out. And I think they're just dating at this point.
Interesting.
She's in the book, and she was in the Empire times too. She was hanging out with Alicia. She's not bad. Like, I'm definitely starting to get a character from her. But yeah, it might be starting to get a little too crowded, especially with 2 kids. That's also a little worrisome.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, comics are fun. Thank you for that super chat. That was really awesome of you. So he says, support your local comic shops and comic book YouTube series. So yes, that's awesome.
We appreciate it, especially because we also heard that this video is lagging. So whoever is watching, we appreciate you.
Yeah, you guys
staying with us.
I'm looking at mine and on my computer screen, and I think it's maybe a little blurry, but I don't see it lagging. So I don't know. But people were saying in the comments that the live streams have been lagging all week in different other YouTube channels.
Yeah, so at least we know it's not just us.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so let's talk about Wonder Woman issue 762. So my theory, I know I said it last week, it's correct, right? It's Maxwell Lord's daughter, and it looks like now he's teaming up with Wonder Woman to stop her. So what'd you think about this issue?
I liked it only until the end. I like the cliffhanger of it. I feel like it's kind of been slow, this book. And I like it so much more that I've been enjoying Wonder Woman, so I'm not going to drop it anytime soon, at least until this arc is over, to see where it's going. But yeah, I like the ending, but I just don't feel like it's the same thing over and over again. Okay, you're controlling people.
Right.
That's about it.
So now we'll get to see what this. Now that we found out that it's the girl. Now I want to see what her end game is. Like, what's the point of all this? Where are we going from here? Or we got to get another story arc before Endless Winter comes out, right? So I'm very curious to see. I liked it. I thought it was good. I don't have a problem with the artwork. I think maybe every once in a while I have a problem with Wonder Woman's face. It looks a little too like.
It's not as good as the other. Also, your mic is a little. It's a little muffled. Do you want to tap it for a second? Like, I know it's your phone.
It's
good now. It's good now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with with all that, but we'll see what happens with it as well.
Yeah, we'll see. It's a good cliffhanger, but that's about it for me.
All right. So yeah, I got the comments on there that my mic went low, but it's okay now, right?
Yeah, it's good now.
Okay.
It was low for like a minute, and that's it.
Okay, of course. There's always got to be something.
Always.
All right. So now we'll drop on to your number 4, Kat. What was your number 4?
My number 4 was, I didn't even like organize my comics correctly, so I just have to look at the list. Let me see. My number 4 was Join the Future, so we already talked about it.
Okay. And like I said, I didn't put mine in order today, so I have no idea what my number 4 would be. So, next big book we're going to talk about is Bad Mother issue 2. Shit, I didn't get that one either, so I forgot about that. I didn't even read it.
Oh.
So, did you read it?
No, I didn't read this one. And I think Brant
put that down.
And Brant's dropping it. So.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, at least from what it seems like.
I know with Bad Mother issue 1, it was very confusing to find out like who the person was at the end of the book. The artwork was very dark to the point where you can't remember who the characters were. And I know that was my issue with it. And I was confused by the end. So, I can, most of the time I trust Brant on his word when it comes to certain books. And so I might not read it. So, and I just want to let the people know out there that Brant's Under the Radar book was actually Stealth issue 5.
Yes, so we did know that. We should ask him for his top 5. But honestly, Brant really wasn't feeling well. He literally was going to be on this show, but it didn't end up working out. So it's okay. Maybe he can leave his top 5 in the comments when he feels better. We do have a comment from Comics Are Fun. Are either of you reading Maestro? I'm personally not.
I am. And I think that book was actually very interesting as we got the introduction to, the Hulk and I guess his short journey in becoming Maestro. And I thought it was a great book. And it was like MODOK put him under the ground to kind of conserve him. And then eventually Hulk winds up breaking out and he's into this future where the world has been destroyed. They've been at nuclear war and there's certain people that have been preserved. But Hulk becomes very frustrated and very angry because he was kept down there against his will and he's lost everything that he's cared about. So we can see why this kind of sets him up into the person that he will become in the next few issues. So if any of you guys are not reading it and you're Hulk fans or Maestro fans, I definitely suggest this actual book.
And that book came out last week, right?
Last week or 2 weeks ago. It's coming out again, not tomorrow, but
the week after.
Following week, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to Nightwing. Kat, did you read Nightwing?
I did not read Nightwing.
Okay, so Nightwing ties into the Joker War, and we get to see Dick Grayson again. He is back, Kat. He is no longer Dickie Grayson, Rick Grayson. He is actually back. So real quick,
he's back in Batman tomorrow too, I think. Or
what's that?
Whatever it came out. He's back in Batman today. Yeah. He was on the cover for that one.
Exactly. So, with a little help of Barbara and them and his girlfriend Bea, they wind up getting him back and he remembers who he is. And it's kind of not really a big deal for Joker. He's like, all right, he's back. Time to leave, punchline, and they scram, and that's kind of it. And Jason, Dick, and Tim are basically like, "Hey, man, it's great to have you back again." And it's cool because we were talking about that continuity with Tim, being Robin. He's Robin in this book.
Oh, is he? That's cool.
So they're following up on that pretty good. So I like that. Comics Are Fun says it's a great read. Not a Hulk fan, but I do like the character of the Maestro. Yeah, I do too. I think it's awesome. All right, so that was Nightwing issue 74, Joker War tie-in. I want to see how this stuff does tie in. Like, if they release like an ultimate edition or omnibus or I want to see how all these books like in timeline match up with each other, because the stories are all over the place. You know what I'm saying?
I could see them just doing like, here's Batman, here's the Nightwing issues. I don't know if they would actually weave it in order.
Right.
Because it doesn't seem like there's much of an order. But hopefully we get that collection, which I sure we will, because this book obviously has been very popular. I think Detective Comics issue 1027 is coming out tomorrow too. It's a lot of Batman.
Oh yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's see. We're going to talk about your number 3 now, Kat.
Yes, mine is Red Mother, issue 8. I enjoyed this issue. I think it definitely picked up a bit as we get to the end, where, you know, again, Daisy's comfortable. She's doing this puzzle and it's working out. And then she leaves and the Red Mother might kill her boyfriend. So I really like the cliffhanger of this issue.
I did. I like this issue a lot better than the last issue, just because we get to see her episodes are coming back again, and she's struggling, and you get to see her, though she solved these puzzles. So there's something with these puzzles and that statue that's all connected to this somehow. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like, and this is a coincidence, but it seems like when she gets close to somebody, that's when the Red Mother strikes.
For sure.
And it looks like, or the creature strikes, and it could kill this boyfriend next.
I still think the Red Mother is her. I totally think it's just like we don't. Yeah, because how is it all? I think it's connected to her PTSD somehow. Maybe she had PTSD before the first encounter with Red Mother. Maybe something else happened to her.
I would only think that something had happened to do that, because I was going to say, well, what about her first boyfriend?
Yeah,
right?
because,
like how did that happen? Like, how did that one die? So I mean, yeah, maybe she's in conflict with herself. You know, but then it doesn't make sense, like these other people that are just like, you know, hail the Red Mother or the one that's risen, and there's just, you got some weird shit going on in there.
It could be in her head though, because right now we're in her perspective. We're not in anyone else's besides hers, so she could be an unreliable narrator as well. Right.
How long is this book going in for?
We don't know. I wish we had more interviews with the writer for this one. I definitely would ask that question. I feel like it could be like a 30-issue run. If it's more than that, it might get a little bit too dicey, but I could see it being like a solid 30 issues, maybe less. We'll have to see.
Yeah, I don't know, but this is a very interesting story.
I hope people are picking it up. I don't know how the sales are doing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping it's selling pretty well. I mean, the people that read it here in the comments, other people that have commented on my channel, I've said that they've really enjoyed it. I've recommended it to a lot of people. Yeah, it's just one of those things that people, once they read it, they like it. And it really is that mystery. Like, you want to know how it's solved. You need to find out.
And it's just such good characters. Like, even when it is a slow book, I personally like when it's slow. I like that it just feels very real, and it's plays with realism a lot. We tried recommending it to Michael. Hopefully one day he reads it. Yeah. I think it's too many issues in at this point. I don't think he's going to read it, but I feel like it'd be totally up his alley.
But it's so unpredictable, and I think that's what makes this book so good. It's something we haven't really seen before.
It just plays with horror really nicely. It plays with tension really well.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on. We're going to talk about your number 2.
My number 2 is Captain Marvel, issue 21. That
was a good book.
It is. This arc was so good, and I'm glad it ended well. One of our titles might have been who's the new accuser, and we find out it's actually Carol's sister. And I thought that was so perfect, because we've been, me and Mike especially have been discussing, well, is Carol going to be an accuser, and what's the future of Carol? And I think that's the perfect thing to have her sister do it. And I really like her sister a lot. Just in the few issues we've had her, I want to see even more of her. Kelly Thompson's very good at creating new characters. And I like the ending a lot with her and going to the mother's grave. And there's some good humor in this issue. I just thought it was really well balanced and good action as well.
Yeah, I mean, her sister's a big teddy bear. You know, it's just like she's this big hulking, you know, warrior, but she's so soft on the inside, you know. And for her to be the accuser was quite an interesting choice. But yeah, I agree. It gives this book a little bit more family dynamic, I think, which is kind of cool. What I also liked about it is the team that was in there, like Hazmat and Spider Woman and who else was in there? Rhodey was in.
Rhodey.
Yeah, and so it was just like, you know, they had fun moments in there. It's a great book. You know, I would have loved to seen Carol stay the accuser, just to explore that just a little bit more, like how she deals with that responsibility. And but it's okay that her sister gives her that role because, you know, her role could be much more significant going into the future when it comes to uh, cosmic stories, Carol and herself and whatnot. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, sure.
So again, I don't know how many people are reading Captain Marvel right now, but I think this is a great book.
It's one of the best Captain Marvel. Honestly, it probably is the best Captain Marvel run next to Life of Captain Marvel. I still think that's my number one. But this is like, as a long run, and it's so interesting because this book, in my opinion, didn't have a great first arc. But then after the first arc, it really
Yeah,
picked up.
I agree with you a lot. Yep. All right. So was that was your number 3, right?
My number two.
Number 2. Okay, yeah, we're on 2. So the next one we're going to talk about is Web of Venom Wraith issue 1. And I know you didn't read this, I'm sure. But this ties into the whole King in Black type of situation where we get Wraith and we get Null and they come face to face with each other and Null basically takes care of him, rips off his suit, and Wraith has nothing else to do but before he dies, which looks like he dies, is to transport to Earth, warn Eddie Brock, and he warns Eddie Brock and he takes off. But there's this key information that he gives to Eddie, and he goes something alongside with Null. There was this light. So it looks like this story is truly going to be dark versus light, or a light creature that's like Null. I don't know, but that's what they're trying to get at, I guess, over here. I thought it was good. I thought the artwork was good. I thought it was an interesting book. It gives you the history of Wraith, where he came from, and how he's connected to Null and whatnot. So I thought it was a great read. I really enjoyed it for a one shot and to kind of bridge that gap, you know, before the King in Black happens. So yeah, great read here. I thought it was awesome.
Now, I know I took off this just because when we all three of us were going to be on the show, you were the only one who read it. But since it's just the two of us, do you want to talk about Superman issue 25?
Yeah. Oh gosh. So Superman 25. I don't know how many of the viewers out there were watching this book or reading this book, but we get the new villain by the name of Sinmar, and it's this alien race that's been watching Superman and Krypton since Krypton has exploded, and they followed Superman all the way his journey to Earth, and they're like, oh my God, this Kryptonian is going to have the yellow sun give him his powers, and they're like, should we do something? And so they've been deciding a long time, watching if Superman is going to become their threat. And at the same time, Earth has developed their Superman, and these creatures have developed their version of a Superman from their race, right? And this was, I guess, going to be the creature that's going to face Superman in the future. Well, somehow at the end of this book, we wind up seeing this Superman. They show Superman destroying their entire race. So, and now I guess this is going to cause a conflict between the last one here of this race and the last, obviously, Kryptonian they're going to battle. I thought it was an okay issue, but at the same token, it was very Brian Michael Bendis, where it was just a lot of exposition, a lot of repeating, a lot of like it dragged a little bit, like get to the point. You know, it's the reason why I dropped Superman in the first place. I just felt like this story could have been told very quickly, and they made it a bigger issue, which would have been fine in a regular sized issue. But because it was an issue 25, they felt like we need to add pages to this. So I thought it was drawn out, and it didn't need to be. But it was an okay story.
Do you think you'll read Superman until it's over, or would you just like, I'll read the last issue and that's it, or you might not read any of it?
I don't know. It's going to December.
Yeah.
I might.
It's a long time.
I might. I mean, that's what, 3 more issues? So
of just Superman. If you wanted to get Action Comics as well, that'd be 6.
No.
Or more, because they don't do double because it's Action.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, I might read it because I might want to see how it closes out and then how we might get into the next chapter. I don't know. I'll make a decision when how many comics I'm getting. I might be like, oh crap, I'm getting 20 comics. What am I leaving behind? Yeah, it's Superman.
Superman would be the first one. This week, I felt like I got so little comics. I was so excited that I got Empire because I'm like, oh man, need to fill up this full of it. We do have a comment from Silverstroke who says, is Mark Waid definitely taking over the Superman title, or is that just a rumor? That's just a rumor. There has not been confirmation. But if Mark Waid does take over Superman, that'd be pretty cool. I'd be happy with that.
He's only writing 1 issue. He's writing the Endless Winter issue.
I didn't even know he was writing the Endless. Oh, right. He was, because that was in our news piece. Yeah, he was going to be on Endless Winter. I mean, is that showing that he might write it for the future? Who knows? I mean, we actually haven't talked about Endless Winter too much. I feel like that's such a strange event. It's tying into so many things. So many things.
You know what? It just reminds me of X of Swords, how they're doing it, because each chapter is taking place in different.
But at least they built up to that, right? Because X-Men, like, we've been waiting for X of Swords because we've been reading X-Men and like, okay, this is the big event. Endless Winter, who's been waiting for that, you know?
Yeah, it's just been announced, and they're kind of making it this big deal because it's taking place across the entire DC universe or all its books. And again, I just feel like December is that month where DC's kind of like, all right, we're getting ready to start fresh new stories with these characters, and they're just using all these, you know, this event as a kind of a placeholder for right now. Yeah,
it feels that way. Well, are you gonna get it? I don't know if I will. Honestly, it will depend on work because I read a lot of DC for work, so if I have to read it for that, I will. But out of just like a customer, I don't know. But I mean, when you think
about it, if it's like 1 or 2 issues a week for 4 weeks, like how many chapters was it? I don't even remember. So
I don't think it's too long. I think it was maybe, from what I remember, unless there's more months to come, I think it was like 8.
Right. So if you do 2 a week through the month of December, then you got it covered. Right. So, and when you look at the amount of DC books I would used to get in every single week, there were a lot. And when this is the only thing going on, then it makes sense to get it, right?
Yeah. We'll see if it's good. Tevia mentioned that it is death metal he's writing, not Endless Winter. Cool. We'll have to look. I'm guessing he probably is writing death metal. I didn't even remember what he was writing, but we knew he was writing something within DC.
Okay. All right. So then what was your number 1 book then?
Mine is Marauders, of course. I love that issue. It was Kitty Pryde love letter, literally.
Nice. Okay, cool. So awesome. So there are all the books. So now we're going to talk about books that are on the chopping block. So Kat, you mentioned Willow is on your chopping block already. Brant's was Bad Mother, and I think he had X-Force as well.
He also had X-Force, so
which I'm curious, because if he is reading X of Swords, he would have to hold on to that.
We said the same thing about Cable, because he was going to drop off Cable, and we're like, just read another issue because it's going to be X of Swords. What I'm doing personally is that I'm reading the books I would normally read physically, and then the books I normally wouldn't read, I'm getting digitally. So like this week, I think it's Excalibur. So Excalibur is the prelude. I'm gonna get it, but I'm gonna not read it physically. I'm reading it digitally.
Gotcha.
Are you gonna get X? And also your mic, I guess. Try tapping your phone. I don't know what else to do.
I don't know why it does that. Is this better?
Oh no, no, I don't know why it does that.
I don't know what changes. I'll
Me
come
either.
back.
Okay. Mike's gonna come back, but yes, I'm gonna be getting Excalibur this week, which I don't even know if it's in our most anticipated. It is not, so I could talk about that. There we go.
Am I better?
Oh, much better. So you're gonna get Excalibur this week? Are you following everything for X of Swords, or you just started?
I think I decided to take the leap and just do it and just follow the chapters and see what this story is about, because when I look at House of X and Dawn of X, I think that story was freaking awesome.
Yeah, especially like once it got into the groove. Like I feel like for me, like once you got to House of X issue 2, I'm like, shit, I'm on board. And then Mora never shows up again.
Yeah, and I hope that this story is to that caliber, right? And so if you have a chapter every week, I don't have an issue with that. I really don't.
Yeah, same. If it's not like 20,000 books. If I don't like the book, then I might drop it off. But it's hard because you're reading so many X-Men books. Like, I'm never going to drop Marauders. So it's just like, am I just going to be confused for Marauders? Like, what's the point of dropping it? It would have to be really bad for me to drop it. Because I want to see what's going on with the X-Men. I think everyone does.
Yeah, I think you have
the
to.
X-Men.
I'm hoping that this is a really good event. I hope this is something that exceeds my expectations. Empyre, was on everyone's shit list, and then it basically, for me, it was better than I expected it. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't the best, but it was good.
Yeah, even the tie-ins weren't bad. I think the reason that event, I guess, was successful in some regards, at least critically, in some regards, is that it didn't focus on Iron Man or Spider-Man. It was about Wiccan, or more about hulking. It was about this character we'd never seen an event with.
Yeah.
So I think that's what made Empyre somewhat refreshing.
Right. And then, and I sit there and I look at X of Swords and I'm like, okay, it's X-Men with a bunch of swords. Like, what can we expect from that? So I'm just like, I don't have my expectations high. But I think it could be kind of cool. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, as 40 parts, 30 parts later, we will definitely see what happens on that. I think we're going to go into most anticipated. I guess I'll do it since Brant's not here.
Sure.
First up is Batman issue 99. So this is the penultimate to that big issue 100. Curious to see where it's going to go for sure. I'm excited to see the Bat Family because that's where we left off with issue 98. I want to see what they're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we get Batman who captured Punchline, right? And so now it looks like the tide is probably going to turn or start to turn here because Batman's recovered from that Joker toxin, and I think we're going to get more of Clown Hunter in this issue as well. So yeah, I think this is going to be a good issue. Has not been a bad issue of Batman since its release. Since Tom King has left, I've enjoyed it. This is always on top of my pile each and every time it comes out.
I agree. I think even when it's not in my top 5, maybe it's a slow issue, but I haven't found a bad issue. I would say in the beginning, it took me a little while to get into it. But once you got into it, once Punchline really showed up,
right,
I was really enjoying it.
Right.
So next up is the Immortal Hulk issue 0. I think most of this is a reprint, but there's new information in it.
There's going to be a new story in it as well. So that's why I was picking it up. Like I think it's 2 reprints, or I could be wrong, but there's a reprint in there. But yeah, there's definitely some stuff in there that we never knew. So that's why I wanted to pick this up. And being that it's a 0 issue and it's Immortal Hulk, and I have every other single issue of Immortal Hulk, I'm picking it up. So I cannot not pick this up, right?
No, I agree with you. I'm curious how I'm going to review it. It really depends how many pages it is. I don't know if it'll be in my best comics of the week tomorrow. It really depends how many new pages are in it.
Are you reviewing it for Newsarama?
No, thankfully, I don't do reviews for them anymore. I just do interviews and features for them, which is honestly good, because that way I don't have to, review things that, I might not like. But yeah, so I don't think it really depends on what type of book it's going to be. I'm curious. Let me actually look up. The cover looked really cool.
Yeah, because it's about his dad, right?
Yeah.
So and so that's the secrets that you're going to learn. You're going to learn the secrets of Brian Banner.
This is exactly what it says. Al Ewing and Joe Bennett's Immortal Hulk series has illuminated the Hulk's history like none before, especially issue reprints, the issue 1 of Incredible Hulk and issue 312, 2 of the pivotal stories that inspired the immortal take on Brian Banner. I think they mean Bruce Banner. They say Brian Banner on here. Bruce's father and the terrifying. Oh, his father is.
His father is Brian.
Yeah. I'm like, wait, who's Brian Banner? His father is, and then they said Bruce's father, terrifying conduit to the one below all. Oh, interesting. A brand new story reveals yet more secrets behind the mastermind of cruelty. A can't miss issue. Interesting. Yeah. So it seems like there's gonna be some story in there.
Yeah. See, that's why and again, I have to pick it up because I've had every other single issue.
This is a good question from Silverstroke. What is the optimal length of a story arc? Sometimes I feel some arcs should be longer, and other times you feel to be compressed. I say between 4 or 5 issues, in my opinion.
I agree. I think that's a good story arc. I do not like story arcs that go on forever.
As we talk about extra swords.
Right. like that's an event. So the Extra Swords.
So you mean like Kindred?
It reminds me of the Executioner's song in X-Men back in the day. And that's kind of what happened. It took place in all these different X-Men books, and that's what the Extra Swords is. But oh yeah, exactly. Kindred, right? Kindred's been going on since the very beginning. But we've even saw like. What's the Spider-Man story that we had from Chip Zdarsky when he did Spider-Man?
Life of Spider-Man?
Yeah, that story was the entire run, okay? And for Spider-Man, that doesn't work. For Daredevil, though, it works. I don't know what it is about Daredevil, but when he's writing Daredevil, that horror storyline that went on just works phenomenally. The flow is beautiful. Spider-Man, it didn't work. But I personally, I agree. 4-issue story arcs, I think, is perfect because then it gives readers a reason to jump on. Oh, I missed this story arc. Can I jump on now? When you have an ongoing story, that's an issue. That's my only problem with independent books, because a lot of independent books, they have a definitive ending. So they'll go from 1 to 30 and it's a whole story. And to try to get someone to jump on board at issue 15 is almost impossible without going back and reading the trades first. Like Saga, could you jump on Saga by issue 25? Yeah, you could never do that.
Yeah. I feel like I've actually skipped some issues of Saga because I remember I read up to issue, I don't even remember what issue we're up to, but we got up to issue 30 or something. And I didn't read 10 issues in between. It was between an arc. And I got that 25-cent issue. And then I read from there. I'm I haven't read 10 issues of Saga in between.
Right.
There. But I agree. You have to at least read the beginning of it.
Yeah.
You got to understand what's going on.
That's I would tell people to read Chew. You can never understand that book reading it from midway through the story, from the 20.
Even Chew is kind of, and when I say Chew, I mean CHU, is kind of hard to get into since I haven't read the other Chew.
Well, yeah, because the way this version of Chew is you're looking at a different perspective. You're looking at it from the sister's point of view. The exact same thing that happened to Detective Chew. So this
has happened already? This storyline?
Yes, and you're seeing from her point of view, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I thought it was just here's this story. Yeah. That's interesting.
So, same thing.
It's gonna be a surprise for me, whatever happens in this arc. But yeah, speaking of Chip Zdarsky, he has a new Image book coming out, Stillwater, issue 1.
Yes.
I'm really excited for this. After just reading a lot of good stuff from Chip Zdarsky in the past 2 years or so, which honestly did start with Life of Spider-Man, I'm excited to see an indie from him.
I read the preview of this book, and it was interesting. I'm like,
good way, or
yeah, I'm like, I want to see what this is about, you know? And that's what's great about these independent stories. Like, I know a lot of them you can't jump on midway, but if you start from the beginning and it's a good story, man, it's got you hooked all the way through.
Yeah, I'm excited to see where that's gonna go. Speaking of other indie books, we have Severin Secrets issue 2, which is gonna be us finally meeting the main character because we only saw it through the parents' point of view. So now we're meeting the main character. All of us really enjoyed the first issue, so excited for that second one.
Oh yeah, that was an awesome first issue, and I'm sure Tom Taylor will do any of the characters. He'll do a lot of justice for them, and I'm so excited for this series.
Same. Let's see what else we got. Big Girls issue 2. You really enjoyed that first issue.
Yeah, I love that first issue, and now it looks like we're going to get to see a rebellion here with the women maybe creating their own bad men and taking down this organization. I thought it was awesome though, seeing just like these big monsters just destroying stuff, but it was very, you know, jaw dropping at the same time. And I thought it was a great book. It's another great independent being released right now.
A lot of good indies this year, especially in a crazy COVID world we're living in. It's cool that I think more people are trying indies as Marvel and DC is trying to catch up. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's get in some of the mainstream. As we talk about mainstreams, we have Thor issue 7. We had such a big reveal in that last issue. I even read it. It's a very big reveal. So
yeah, I think we're going to get that reveal, and then now we're going to see the journey on what's going to get us to that point or what happens. But I think Thor issue 1 through 6 was a phenomenal story. It sets the tone for things to come. I think when it comes to Donny Cates, I think for a lot of people, his stories are untouchable right now. And, I'm speechless when it comes to his writing. I'm just a huge fan of it. And he always adds that extra layer to these characters that they didn't have before. And I find it quite interesting. And I have a feeling that his whole situation with Null and everything else might cross over too. I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with all this and Thor and Thanos and everybody else.
another big Marvel book coming out tomorrow is Iron Man issue 1. Oh man, I'm stoked for this. I hope it's good.
Oh my gosh, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. My gosh, there has not been a good Iron Man book in the longest time. The longest time. And it's got Alex Ross artwork on the cover of it, and artwork inside looks very nice as well. I'm just going to keep my fingers crossed. It's keeping the character to back to basics, and that's what I want. You would think when it comes to Iron Man character, why is it so hard to write him? Why is it so hard when he's such a popular character in the movies? Why would you not duplicate that personality on the pages of the book, right?
I guess because maybe it's technically been done before, but I think there is, especially in a modern setting, I feel like we haven't gotten that Iron Man that's in the movies. I agree. I also think it's a shame that we don't get his supporting characters, especially Pepper. I feel like that's been the biggest downfall of Iron Man. Yeah, again, crossing my fingers, it's good. We also have Cafu in art, which is actually on what I'm most excited for, is his art. So that's what I'm really, really looking forward to. All right, well, let's get into the last one here, which is the Amazing Spider-Man Sins of Norman Osborn, issue 1.
So what is this, though? Does this continue off of the Sin Eater story?
I believe so. I think it's a one-shot, I guess, to lead into... Let me actually look it up. I think it's a one-shot that leads into the next issue, but let's read it off. the description here. Marvel.com says the Sin Eater has leveled up thanks to Kindred, and his evil plan is working. New York City is on fire at its own hand. Ravencroft is under siege, and Spider-Man seems to be the only one who knows right from wrong anymore. He certainly can't look for help from Ravencroft's chief administrator, Norman Osborn, whose past will haunt both him and Spider-Man. So yeah, this sounds like the same exact thing. So Spidey calls his amazing friends. So, yeah, it looks like it. And also, no, the cover artist is Ryan Otley. Different artist for the interiors.
So it looks like it's a continuation off of the same story.
Yeah. I just hope there's like a story. I hope it's not like a filler one shot.
How much is it? Does it say?
Let's see. It is. Doesn't say here, but I could probably find it on Preview World.
I know, like when I was doing my top 10 most anticipated, $5. This wasn't even in my top 10 because I'm kind of like, all right, it's a one shot. It has to do with Sin Eater. I'm like, I just don't get why it doesn't take place in the main book, right?
Yeah, it's a shame that like, honestly, it's probably just to have Norman Osborn in the name. There's like, we need Norman Osborn.
I guess so. I don't know.
But then, like, for people reading Amazing Spider-Man, do they know to pick up this one shot if it's important? And that makes
I can honestly tell you that this kind of like I overlooked it. Like I'm scrolling through books that I'm gonna possibly buy, and then I saw this on there. I'm like, why is this not part of the main story? You know?
Yeah, it's definitely a turnoff, especially since again this arc hasn't been the strongest for Spider-Man. It's been a while since Spider-Man's been strong, and maybe because of COVID. Because I would say the last time I enjoyed Spider-Man a lot was JJ, that whole podcast arc.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that's what I want. That's what I loved. That was Spider-Man. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
I think we have a question from Serenity. Oh, okay, never mind. It was a question too, Tavia. Yeah, that's our whole entire show. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I think we had some really good conversation. And again, sorry that everyone couldn't be here. It's just lots going on. Just know that they want to be here. It's definitely nothing about the show. They definitely want to be here. It's just lots going on. So
it's just a part of all of us. I mean, if two of us can be on the show, we're going to try to do our best to bring it to you each and every week. So yeah, just a lot of things going on. Brant wasn't feeling well. You know, Chris has got some real personal issues going on that we can't really discuss, and obviously Michael is his brother, so he wants to be there for his brother, and you know, and we're a family, so we all support each other and we all cover each other. We've known each other a long time, so you know, we're going to do our best to keep this show going each and every week, and hopefully you enjoy it, whether it's two of us or all of us. You know, we're going to bring it to you. So Kat, you have anything going on?
Just a lot of articles coming up. I had a Clown Hunter article up in Newsarama. I have a Kickstarter article coming up that is almost 4,000 words. I wrote for 6 hours today. So please read it. I'd be really thankful if you read it. It took me a really long time to put together. It's 13 interviews, all from different, I guess the T's. I don't know if I'm allowed to, but like I got the head of Boom Studios, Scott Snyder, Jeff Lemire, Jimmy Palmiotti, like all from different spheres, retailers, up and coming Kickstarter people. So it should, yeah, I think it's a really good article. So I'm looking forward to you guys to read it. And also I did a video on my channel about if Cassandra Cain and Stephanie Brown are going to be the new Batgirls of the universe. So I had fun talking about that.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, and on my channel, guys, if you want to check out my top 10 comic book covers of the week, where you guys can vote on your favorite comic book cover of the week. It's an interactive series. Takes place every Monday. That was posted yesterday. Top 10 most anticipated comics for next week. That was dropped today if you guys are looking to create your pull list a week early. And tomorrow is going to be the comic book haul for me, where I have a feeling it's going to be a ginormous haul because I didn't get most of last week's books. So it's going to be one of those stacks. So stay tuned for that. And of course, guys, if you want to be part of my Facebook group page called Comic Book Corner 2.0 Webheads Unite. You guys can go on to there. All you got to do is just sign up for it, and I'll just approve you. And it's just as easy to become a member of that. And if you want to support my channel, just go ahead and hit the join button on my home screen. You'll become a webhead that way as well too. So again, it shows that love and support towards my channel. And guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. It's been another episode of Comic Book Weekly. We'll be here next week for you next time. So guys, be good and get all those comic books tomorrow. Take care, everyone. See you.